Welcome to Tenacity with Sonia C., the podcast where we dive into stories behind success, uncovering lessons learned and the insights gained by leaders and innovators in the business world. I'm your host, Sonia, and let's get started. My guest today is Eric McHugh. Eric is a trailblazer in the fields of Web3 and artificial intelligence. Eric's unique path from bankruptcy consulting to leading tech advancements offers a fascinating glimpse into the evolving world of digital innovation. Stay tuned as we uncover the impact of these technologies and how they're revolutionizing industries worldwide. Hi, Eric. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sonia. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful.
Oh, no problem. I'm really excited to go through this episode with you. I have lots of questions. Web3, AI, let's get into it. Can you just start off by telling us who you are and what you do?
Sure. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric. I'm 30 years old and I'm blessed to be living in beautiful Southern California. My main hobbies are chess, Muay Thai, reading, pretty much anything under the sun, and meditation. I just got back from a 10-day Noble Science meditation retreat in Joshua Tree, California. It was a transformative, beautiful experience. In terms of schooling, I went to University of California, Irvine, interned in Barcelona and in Washington, D.C., which was pretty funny considering how polar opposite those cultures are. Like in Barcelona, I show up to the office at like 10 a.m. with sandals, and I'd be the first one there. Whereas in DC, it'd be the full suit and tie, show up to the firm at like 8 a.m. and I'm like the last one there. So just completely opposite. Post graduation, my first job was at Snap Inc., helping them craft their ad algorithm, make it sticky. That was a cool experience because it was right before their IPO. So I wanted to see what it was like going through a company culture and being around energy like that, like a before and after effect. And then
Mm,
from there, I got a job as a bankruptcy consultant, helping Fortune 500 companies move around debt that they owed, which is when I started the entrepreneurship path. So at that point in time, as a bankruptcy consultant, that's when I was really researching cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, all that stuff. I had my group of friends. We were reading, listening to any sort of content that we could get our hands on. And the ethos of the non-rent seeking behavior didn't align with the ethos of the consulting firm. And the consulting firm, don't get me wrong, was great. The people there were kind, everyone was highly intelligent. I learned a lot, but it was more of a structural issue. So
mm,
in bankruptcy consulting, there are tiers of creditors, tier one, tier two, tier three, tier four. Tier one gets paid out first, tier two gets paid out second, then tier three, then tier four gets the leftovers. And the normal people like me and you, the mom and pops, like the just like the normal people, they're obviously tier four for whatever reason. So they would get pennies on the dollar. So as a consultant, we're building a company that's going through the bankruptcy process. So we're taking money from the pool who I felt should have gone to like the everyday citizen like me and you. So I knew what I wanted to do at that point. I knew I was going to work in cryptocurrency and Web3 before it was Web3. I quit that job, started going to cryptocurrency meetups in the local area, met the original ShopX team. We founded that company, and then we also started a VC funded spin-off SaaS platform called CartRev that replaced affiliate codes. So if you're a brand on Shopify, you can upload your products. And then it was cool because anyone could sell anyone's products.
Can you just explain to us what is Web3?
Sure. I'll do that really simply. And to do that, let's go over what Web 1 is. So Web 1, I like to think of as read only. So in Web 1, we could go online and we can read content on the internet.
Hmm.
Web 2, think of Instagram, think of social media, think of Facebook, so you can read and write. So on Web 2, like I can post an Instagram post. You can see that Instagram post. The only issue is we don't own that Instagram post. So Instagram owns the data. They can sell that data for various purposes. They do whatever they want with it. And not only that, they can cancel you at really their whim. So hypothetically, we could say something on this podcast. 10 years down the line, they could reference this podcast, even though it's okay to say now, may not be okay then. Just say, okay, he's off the platform. So we don't own the data.
Mm,
Web3, I would think of it as read, write, and own. So not only can you read content, you write content, but you own the content. And the vehicle for this is NFTs, which in simple terms are non-fungible tokens, or just programmable data on the internet that's scarce. So hypothetically, let's say create an NFT, it's my NFT. You purchase that NFT, it could be a picture, it could be a pass to events. It could be whatever you want.
Mhm.
And then now you own the NFT. So Instagram, Facebook, whatever internet power can't come in and take that NFT from you. I can't even take that NFT from you. It's your NFT for life.
So how can you, what kind of applications can you use with Web3?
Yeah, so there are plenty of applications right now. So you can do payments, you can do international payments is the easiest one. So if you wanted to
Mhm.
send money across internationally, Web3 cryptocurrencies are the best way to do that. Like hypothetically, let's say I send money to the like my family in the Philippines. What would happen is the Western Mutual or whatever bank, they would usually take like a 20 to 30% fee. And I think this is actually pretty messed up because oftentimes when you're sending international remittances, this is to like the poorest people in the world. So the people who need the money most. So they take like
Right.
20 to 30% right off the top, and then they leave the bank station. And then like someone sitting outside, they take more money from them. In particular, my area of expertise is adding e-commerce applications to the NFT. So hypothetically with ShopX, just think of it like a loyalty pass. If a
Mhm.
brand were to if like Nike were to use ShopX, they were to launch like a gold, silver, bronze style pass system. The gold member, Nike gets to program any e-commerce benefits to that pass upon what they want. So they could, for example, say, okay, the gold members get exclusive access to this autographed shoe from this famous athlete. Okay, the silver members, they get to buy the leftovers, but they get to buy it for 50% off retail price. Okay, the bronze members, okay, you guys aren't gold or silver, but you're still like a core member. You get early access to the product. Okay, and then after those three are gone, the rest of the people can buy. So it's just it's more of an access pass, and you can use this access pass to access in real life events. We're personally working with like a show by Fox Studios, so Kapopolis. They create a Rick and Morty. If you own a Crab Chicken NFT, you get to vote on stuff in the show. Your Crab Chicken may show up on like directly within the show. You get
Mhm.
exclusive content, you get merch. So it's a connection between that brand and the specific customer.
Okay. So let's go to a different direction because when I was setting this up, I noticed that you talked about applying some of this to dating apps. So dating apps have become like a significant
Yeah.
key to date in the modern world. I mean, I'm going to make this assumption. I feel like 95% of the people I know are all on dating apps, but they all sort of love and hate it, but they hate it more than love it because it's like and means a means to an end. So can you tell me more about how your AI powered matchmaking project and how it's aiming to bring happiness to the dating landscape? I mean, apps, people hate them, so how are you going to change this?
Oh, so that's really cool. So Dating AI is the other company I'm working with, and that's the first ever AI powered matchmaking service. So what
Hmm.
it does, it solves the problem presented by dating apps like Tinder and Instagram. So I would say the biggest issue there are two main issues with present day dating apps. The
Hmm.
first is the top 5% of the users, they get all the matches. So a lot of people are just completely left out of the equation. Like I'd imagine if you're a user, you won't even see like 75% of the people on the app just based on their algorithm.
Right.
The second issue is it's all the second issue is they rely on something called churn marketing. So if you think about it logically, how does Tinder make their money? Oh, just for your listeners' edification, everything is owned by Match.com. So when a dating app, pretty much like 95% of the market is owned by Match.com. When a dating app gets around 1 million users, Match will try to acquire them, which is why they have a monopoly on the market. So that's why nothing ever changes. If you notice all the dating apps are the same, there's a reason behind that. But let's say you're Tinder, you have a paying customer. Your goal is obviously your intention is to make Match.com shareholders richer. What happens if the every once in a blue moon, like a happy Tinder couple meet? Supposedly they get off the app. Well, hopefully. And then what happens there? You lose a customer. So what they rely on is something called churn marketing, which is basically they just keep people on the Ferris wheel. So you said you had friends on the dating apps. I'm sure they've heard this experience like, oh, I downloaded Hinge. I deleted Hinge again. I downloaded Hinge. That's exactly that's what happens there. And I would say the third issue
Of
is
what
like,
I was talking about, like the never ending circle and the
yeah,
vicious cycle, right?
it's by design too. So that's the incentive for the dating apps.
So
And
it's actually meant to keep people on the app and not actually find love and get off the app.
100%.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. But
That's all marketing.
yeah, we're fixing that. And the third issue is again, it's just pretty much all physical based. Like I know people make bios and stuff, but let's be real. Like on Tinder, Hinge, The League, Raya, whatever dating app, it's pretty much hot or not. It's like, do I like their face? Yes, no, yes, no, swipe, and you're pretty much done from there.
Yeah.
So what dating does is again, I think it's an app that puts people in the best position to succeed by
Mhm.
creating and again, you can't take out the human aspect of dating. Obviously, you can find the perfect match, but the two couple, they have to meet in person because I think you can read people's energies, and if you vibe well, that can only be done in person, in my opinion. But so
Yeah.
what dating does is it puts people in the best position to succeed by creating profiles based on their digital footprint. So let's say hypothetically, I'm a user, I joined dating or dating. You link your social media accounts here, like Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, LinkedIn, whatever you want at that point in time. And then it'll generate a profile for me based on my digital footprint. And then it'll show me matches based on my digital footprint. So, for example, like, okay, here's Ashley, Kimberly, Jane with a quick bio about those three. And then we'll keep it in limited matches just so people don't get bombarded with matches. Let's say I
Mhm.
like, let's say I like Jane. I read the quick bio. It's like, oh, please tell me more about Jane. Oh, she also went to a four-year university. Oh, she also studied business. Oh, she volunteers on the weekend. Oh, based on her Instagram, you can tell she goes to a bunch of national parks. Oh, did you know she's the eldest of she's the youngest and you're the eldest, so that may pair well. And then they'll create a
Mhm.
pattern for all that, and then they can take it a step further. They'll say, oh, did you know that within your Spotify listens, you both have this one artist and he's in the top three for both of you? Oh, did you know that he has a concert coming up within a month? Would you like me to suggest this date to Jane? It
Mhm.
suggests a date to Jane. She's like, yeah, let me accept, but I want to feel comfortable. And at that point, you have the choice. You can either do a FaceTime, and we're building out a VR system too. So what's cool about that is again, it sets the dates up on the back end. So let's say that hypothetically that music example didn't come up, but we match anyways. We meet for coffee or anything. That's still there. So that could come up organically, and there'll be other traits. And on
Mhm.
top of that, I think everyone's individual. I think everyone's a beautiful individual. They're looking for different, like everyone's looking for a different thing. Let's just be real. Like
Yeah.
some people make the same, some people may like the opposite. So like, let's say we'll start off with matching people based on similar digital footprints. But let's say you're a person who likes the opposite. You'll say no, no, no to people the same. The Cupid AI, that's what we call her. She's cute. She'll get smarter, and then she'll be like, okay, well, this person clearly doesn't like the same. Let me match him with someone who's different. Let's see how that goes. So unlike
Mhm.
Hinge or Tinder or whatever, the longer you're on our dating app, the better chances of you getting a match are. And let's say hypothetically in the Jane example, we fall in love, we have kids, we do that thing. It can act as a relationship butler. So it can be like, oh, you guys haven't been out in like 3 months. It's time to get your ass out. Here's a babysitting service I recommend. Or hey,
Right.
did you know the your first date concert, they're coming back on a repeat tour? Maybe you should go. It's like, oh hey, did you know this restaurant you both always go to is having a 2-for-1 ice cream sale? Maybe you should check it out. So it can take it's going to be like a full service dating butler. And on top of that, I think the dating market's pretty easy to penetrate just because of how just because of the app dynamics and just they just don't work. But again, going
Mhm.
back to the ethos of community being important, it'll help me find like-minded individuals. Like for example, hey, can you find me 5 dudes within the same area who are into Muay Thai, who are into reading, who'll be down for this restaurant? And then I could create communities based on that. So I think dating is only the beginning.
So, how do you overcome? I feel like with the whole dating app world coming out, a real problem has there's a real problem around it, which is security. So we have all the catfishing stuff going on. We have people stealing money. How is this going to solve that problem?
Yeah, so no, I 100% agree. And I was looking at the data in terms of bots like catfishing.
Mm.
There's tons of bots on this, like on present day dating apps. So if you got a dating app, a lot of them are bots. The way we solve this is at first we wanted to create an algorithm just to cancel, like if you do bot-like behavior, but we went against that because we may cancel. We don't want to cancel anyone real because that would suck if we just like a real person like, why am I canceled? And then get this back. So the
Mhm.
first defense against that is linking your social media accounts because it's much easier to create like a Tinder bot if you just have one, if you just like get pictures online and create use ChatGPT to create a bio. but it's harder to fake an account with like pretty much like more social media. Like if you have like 3 to 4 social media accounts, then okay, like you're probably a real person. And then we can write a script algorithm to monitor for bot behavior. So for example, if they're saying the same line over and over again, that'll flag a real person. Let's look into it. Oh, this person has zero, they have 4 accounts linked, but they have 0 followers. Oh, let's look into it. So that's how it solves that issue.
Mm.
In terms of the catfishing and user behavior, I don't know, are you on Reddit at all?
Yeah, I do go on Reddit sometimes. Yes.
Yeah, so you know they have so they have their karma system. We have a karma system as well. So
Okay.
like let's say hypothetically once it's gonna be like a ranking like karma points. You behave well, I hate to say the word behave, but you're polite, you're a good person on the app, you don't like ghost anyone, you get good karma, you ghost, you catfish, you get flagged, you get bad karma. So the good karma people will most likely get matched up with the good karma people, and the bad karma people will get matched up with the bad karma people. So this is more of like an incentive structure to promote good behavior because I've noticed on the dating apps like there's too many ghosting, there's too many just like like just like honestly just like assholey messages, just a bunch of stuff we don't want. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're creating an incentive structure for that, and the top karma users will get rewards and stuff like we'll do like brand partnerships. They go to like in real life events, like brand product, maybe even some rebates off their dates. And long term, we're gonna build it in. And this is to answer your like I guess the money question. It's we're gonna build it
Mm-hmm.
in where you can book the date from within the app, pay, and you pay like the whomever will pay for the date within the app, and there will be a rebate system in case someone cancels. And so that's how dating is. It's gonna be a free app. That's how we're gonna make some of our money long term. Is like if you want to book through the app and we'll partner with brands too, like our restaurants. Like oh, book through here, you get a discount. We'll get a commission on dates set. So it aligns our incentive. Again, our goal is just to because I think love is probably the most beautiful thing. And you can't find, I think it's very hard to find if you don't meet in like in real life. So we want people off the app as soon as possible in real life. And then if they want to use it from there as like an app butler, great. But if not, hopefully we match the happy couple. And if they do come back, which may be unfortunate, the chances of them succeeding are better in the future than they would be in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think if somebody meets someone and then they come back, it doesn't work out, they come back, that's not a negative thing. It means they had a good experience and now they're willing to pay for your service again to come back versus the vicious cycle where it's like, I hate this app so much, I'm deleting it. And then it's like, well, I don't go out, so I can't date in real life. I gotta go back on this stupid app, which I hate. And then you go through that vicious cycle again, right?
Yeah, honestly, I think the most important thing in these two structures are the intention behind the design of the app. Like, for example, the normal dating apps, the intention is to keep them on the cycle. So, and if anyone breaks that cycle, that's more of like a one-off. It's like, oh,
Mm,
but I was like, oh, this couple actually matched on Tinder. That's rare, but good for them. But they're playing the numbers game. Whereas our intention is to find you with your perfect match or really whatever you're looking for. Like, so we want you to find what you're looking for within the app. And then if you
mm.
have, so our intention is to create a good match. And if it doesn't work, we want that to be the one off. And if you want to come back and use our products and services, again, totally up to you. But we want, like, I want people to match with like-minded people. And hopefully
Good.
that just spreads positivity just because we both know being in a positive relationship, it's a good thing. And we need more, I think we need more of that in the world.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. So, you're getting into this basically I'm going to call it sort of disruptive. So, dating apps have been around for a long time. They're no longer a disruptive technology, which they sort of were, and they
Mhm.
started with good intention, but they're not doing such great things anymore. I mean, I know people that have met and got married, but I feel like the numbers are really low. So, what suggestions do you have for founders that want to get into spaces that already exist, but they want to make a change using a Web3? I feel like, I've been in tech for over 18 years. Web3 is something that's still really new. I just don't feel like enough people know what it is or how to use it or that how they can apply it to a startup that's going to disrupt a competitor or an industry that's already been around.
Yeah, so the good thing is if it's like Web3, it's new. There's a lot of
Yeah.
problems with it, so there's a lot of problems for you to solve. There's a lot of ways to add value, so you could just start there. And you're right
Hmm.
about the disruptive aspect. And I know because I know someone really high up on Tinder, we just talk about it all the time. it's like if you're trying to be a disruptor, then incumbents they're very rarely going to disrupt themselves because they're already working. So you have an advantage that way. Like I'm talking to my friend at Tinder, it's like if he wants to push a new feature type of thing, it'll take like a year and a half to build. They have to go through all this red tape and they'll usually axe it within a week. Whereas if you come in as a disruptor, you can change, you can be agile. So it's kind of like a small speedboat racing against like a giant cargo ship, where it's
Mhm.
like you can make the turns, you can win that way. In terms of advice, just trying to enter the space, I don't know, it's kind of hard because I believe I believe people are put on this earth to serve others. I think that's when people are most happy. And I think
Mm.
the universe or creator, whatever you want to call it, gives everyone specific gifts in order to give back to the people as a collective. So really just kind of follow your intellectual curiosity, and that's how you're going to best enter the space. Like for example, Web3 or AI, they're both very generic topics. For me, I'm good at e-commerce, that's where I led, but there are other use cases. Like it could be music, it could be sports, it could be whatever, like whatever you're generally interested in. If you think this technology can help that space, that's the best way to start. My only ask is I view everyone as like a conscious creator. So when you're creating, just don't hurt anyone and don't take anything away from anyone. And I think you should be good if you follow those two rules.
Okay, but here's the thing with those rules,
Yeah,
right? I
loose
feel
lips.
like everyone starts with those intentions. I think a lot of even the big social media platforms that we have around now, they started with good intention. But then you get into the space where you built something and now you have to make money. And the way to make money is you got to go outside of those boundaries of doing good because you have to find ways to market or sell your data, or who cares about your user experience now? You just want to put out ads and things like that. So like how can someone avoid that when they start out with good intentions, but then they got to make money.
Yeah, no, so I don't view money as a bad thing. I think money is neutral. So I don't agree the fact that the only way to make money is to lie with bad intentions. I think
Mm.
people can make money if they produce enough value for society. So instead of like fighting over like a piece of the pie and just yeah, we need to fight over this cutthroat ads, undercut, all that stuff, it's you can work together to increase the size of the pie for everyone by producing value. And if a competitor does come up with like a better service and the customers leave, that's just the name of the game.
I do a little bit of work in the mining space, and actually, what you just said just sort of resonated with me. One of the challenges that I find in mining is you have all of these different companies, different players, and they're all hiring their own teams to solve the exact same problem. So you have like five, six, 10 companies all putting money towards solving the same problem versus working together and splitting the cost to solve the problem so that they can all use it later.
And
People don't really seem to want to work together.
And honestly, I think that's one of the beautiful things about Web3. So the term composability just essentially means the compound interest of software. And that means we just all kind of build off each other. So
Mm.
if one problem is solved once in code, you just kind of build off that solution and you build it for your customers. Like for example, the ShopX solution. One of our issues was, okay, the customers, they're Web2 brands, they want to buy this NFT to claim a specific product. Okay, most of them they simply don't own crypto, they're brand new to crypto, they don't want to go through that process. So rather than build out our own solution where like, okay, you can pay a credit card, do all this stuff, we just found someone else's solution and we partnered with them and now we're both working together. So I
Mm.
think there's more of that in which again, tech is different just because code is more scalable, but like in the mining business, if you're talking about physical mining,
Yeah.
yes, like they're probably trying to find it. But if they did work together, it's like, yeah, you'd save a lot more money.
So you're saying that in Web3, you can collaborate a lot better with other companies and other partners.
Oh yeah, no, like there's tons of collaboration. Even people they would think you're in the same space. Like again,
Mm.
ShopX, that's my area of expertise. It's like the Fox Studios thing. Like obviously that's a big project. There are like 5 or 6 different Web3 companies doing one specific thing, working together to make that thing whole. Like so ShopX is handling the token gating portion, meaning we're enabling the connection between NFT and the physical product where the product can claim, but someone else is doing payments, someone else is doing the Web3 marketing, someone else is doing the wall connection service, and we all have to work together. Like our dev like our dev teams, they all had to integrate different pieces of the code together in one code base. We all had to work together. We had to all go like 5-person, like 5-team calls. Okay, what's the best move for this? Oh, company A has this problem. But again, with code, company A's problem may affect company C, which may seem completely unrelated. So the
Yeah.
collaborative environment is, and again, it's challenging, but it's also more fun because like honestly, that one project, now I'm connected to like some of the best companies in the Web3 space, and honestly, some of them are just like my friends now. Plus, it was rewarding because it was like again a Fox Studios like show is kind of a big project. So now like we work together, and now we're all rewarded together. So now we're all kind of winning.
Yeah. So let's talk about crypto a little bit. So crypto's had like this up and down since it started. In the beginning, investors who got into it made quite a bit of money, but since then it's had a huge drop. How do you see Web3, working with crypto when a lot of people are just afraid to even dab into that right now because it's just had it's unpredictable.
Yes, and to your point, I think this is just the natural crypto cycle. Like every 4 years, there's an event called the Bitcoin halving, which is
Yeah.
essentially a half supply shock to Bitcoin, and then like that usually the dumps and the rise usually coincide, kind of like clockwork around the halving. And I'm
Hmm.
glad you asked that question because what ShopX is, it's a B2B to C, B2C, B2B to C product, meaning we could sign all the brands of the world but if they can't sell the product to their customers, it's dead on the water. Like for example, we had brands like they signed up, they bought our licenses, they created the graphic, they did everything, they released a PR release, and one in particular I'm thinking about was right
Hmm.
around the collapse of FTX. So their customers were like, "Oh no, no, this is a scam.
Yeah. Right.
Don't involve," and obviously they canceled the product. So our fix around that is I think the general sentiment around crypto will get better and better to the point where eventually when Web3 is being used, no one's going to know they're using it in the background. And then as most people are involved in the ecosystem, whether they know it or not, that's when the price fluctuations kind of died down. And
Hmm.
ShopX and companies like MoonPay are doing our part by onboarding the masses into crypto. Like for example, for ShopX, if like half the people who purchase NFTs and one for one brand, but they're new to crypto, but they wanted the hat that came with with the NFT, so they learned how to use it and then they figured it out. So what we do is firstly we differentiate between an NFT and an ENFT. So NFT is like a Bored Ape, which is just like a hype-based thing, where an ENFT is what ShopX creates. The
Hmm.
utility and the value comes from the e-commerce utility that comes with the product. So like the people
Right.
who they buy the NFT because okay, they'll get access to products or they get access to a specific product. And if it does raise in value, that's I guess good for everyone too, but that's not the main purpose.
Right. So, how has your tenacity and thirst for knowledge played a role in your success as an entrepreneur and leader in the digital age?
Oh no, the thirst for knowledge is probably the most important thing you can have. You're always gonna be constantly learning, and that's I think honestly that's my biggest advantage was at the first startup I was at because
Hmm.
we were in a VC incubator and I was younger at that point in time. So what an
Okay.
incubator is just a bunch of different startups, like 2 to 3 people, just like the founders working on desks close to each other. And our neighbors were Liquid Death. So at that point in time, I interviewed like literally every single founder, what they do best, what's works for them. And I just kind of incorporated all that knowledge into my day to day. It's like, okay, this is how they market, this is how they market, this is how they run this problem, this is how they run QA, this is how they run code teams, this
Hmm.
specific thing. So I just absorbed tons of knowledge there. And of course, just like constantly reading keeps your mind sharp. Just having a different perspective on things helps. So yeah, the thirst for knowledge is, I would say, and because again, like it's important as an entrepreneur because you're not exactly sure what's happening. A lot of times it's really just failing upward. Like you try like 9 things. Okay, I know 9 things now. I know now that 9 things don't work. I'm closer to finding the thing that would work. So you have to be really adaptable. And it
Yeah.
helps to have like a broad scope on things versus just like if I were just in marketing, it's like you have to kind of think more holistically. And having a thirst for knowledge really helps with that. In terms of tenacity, that's just like common. You just have to never stop. Just like,
Yeah.
okay, I have the end goal. How we reach it, we'll figure that out in the middle, but we're gonna reach it. So you just have to act as the goal is already done, and then you eventually get to.
I find that like founders have a really hard time just stopping and saying or regrouping or shelving something for a little while until they figure it out? How do you deal with that?
So and this reminds me of like a code problem where it's like you're just like when you're coding, it's like, okay, why is this spitting out an error? You try it again, it's still spitting out an error, and then just like a stream of cuss words come out, which is funny. Me personally, I'm very good at stepping back. I don't want to waste my like I'm very adaptable. So if something's not working, I have no problem going for a walk, like or just clearing my head, just going for a phoneless thing, and then regrouping and thinking it from a different angle. Because again, if you're just going to keep coming at the and I've seen this more in the corporate world than the startup world, where it's like, okay, we have this problem, team, we're gathering around this desk until this problem is solved. We don't care how long it takes. And then at that point,
Right.
everyone's like, man, I don't want to do this. Their heart's not into it. And oftentimes the solution they come up with is not optimal and they just run with it. So it's like, okay, well, you spend a lot of time, no one's happy, and you got the worst solution. So that's not a winning situation. Whereas if you take a step back, you look at it more holistically, like you have to be more of an observer in that role. You look back, it's like, is this even the right thing to do? Maybe if we try something else, it might work better. Or you keep going, but you have to think about it. You have to be calm.
So we're running out of time. And this was a really interesting conversation. Web3, AI, startups. I love it. So I'm just going to ask you one last question. If you had any piece of advice for a founder that wants to get into Web3, NFTs, AI, and be disruptive, what is your advice in the sense of where they should start, how they should think about the solution, and how they can assemble a team to help them be successful?
Yeah, in terms of where you should start, honestly, the best, it's cliche, but just start. It could be as simple as something as like creating a blank social media account, creating a Google Drive folder with the different departments. And then from there, it's like one of the things where when we start walking the path of build itself, you'll start just filling out documents like, okay, it needs this, and you'll get going. In terms of team composition, I think that's very important just because in early uh, as a startup founder, if you give out debt equity, I think that's probably one of the most killers of startups. Where it's like, okay, three, four founders, one person's dead. No VC will fund someone with like useless equity because they look at it like an asset. So my
Mm,
suggestion for that would be, in Web3 and in Web3, you probably want to lean on the tech heavy side. So maybe like two just straight devs who can do product, usually full stack, one
mm,
business person and one more if you're doing a four founder team, one person who leans on the tech side. So I think that's usually the best composition. I think marketing is usually the first, like marketing and CFO. I would recommend those as like the first two outside hires where like, okay, now you have a working product, you got some sales. What's the first thing you get it out there? Okay, that's where the CMO comes in. They usually crush it. Okay, now you have your working product, you're marketing very well, you have inbound leads. Okay, now that's when we need the CFO to come in. So I would say the CTO and CEO and probably CEO are probably the most important three positions to start with.
mhm.
And then from there you just gotta take it. And then obviously the pieces come once you get a good core. But if you have a weak core, the pieces will fall apart. There's no way around that.
Right. Well, it was really nice having you on. I really enjoyed the conversation. I wish you the best of success with everything that you're doing, which seems like it's a lot. And yeah, it was a pleasure having you, and I hope you enjoyed your chat with me.
Oh, it was lovely. Thank you so much. I had a blast.
And that's a wrap. I want to thank Eric for sharing his insights on Web3, AI, and the future of digital technology. We hope this discussion inspires you to explore the potential of these groundbreaking tools in your own ventures. To our listeners, thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery and inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and join our community on social media. I would love to hear from you. Leave a review and tell me what topics you'd like me to explore in future episodes. Remember, the future belongs to those who embrace change and innovation with tenacity. Keep striving, keep innovating, and most importantly, stay tenacious in your pursuits. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to bringing you more inspiring conversations in our upcoming episodes. This is Sonia signing off, but as always, remember to chase your dreams with tenacity.